Listen closely, because this message could change the way you think about wealth forever. I am Shi Heng Yi, and I have spent decades walking the path of discipline, silence, and personal mastery. Many people chase money, believing it will bring freedom, yet they remain trapped in a cycle of endless desire. True wealth is not about how much you earn. It is about how wisely you manage what enters your life, the energy you invest, and the choices you make every day. Few understand that every coin spent carries a hidden weight. Every purchase is a decision, not just of money, but of focus, energy, and intention. The ancient teachings of Shaolin reveal that when we lose control over what we consume, we lose control over ourselves. Most spend unconsciously, filling their lives with fleeting distractions and illusions of security. In this video, I will guide you through 5 categories of spending that silently keep people trapped in lack, and I will show you how breaking these patterns opens the door to real abundance. You will learn why stopping these purchases is more than a financial tactic. It is a practice of self-mastery. You will discover how subtle habits shape your destiny and how mindful choices align your life with clarity, purpose, and inner strength. This knowledge is not common. It is a path walked by those who truly understand the balance between discipline and freedom. Stay with me until the end, because each insight builds on the next, forming a map toward lasting prosperity and inner power. Welcome to Shaolin Divine Flow, a place where wisdom guides action and mastery transforms life. Subscribe now and walk this path with me. Together we will uncover the hidden forces that shape your wealth, your mind, and your destiny. There is a quiet voice inside that few take the time to hear, yet it holds the key to understanding desire. I am Shi Heng Yi, and I have seen countless people chase fleeting pleasures, thinking they are fulfilling some deep need. Shaolin wisdom teaches that every action must be observed, measured, and intentional. When a hand reaches for something without thought, when a coin is spent in the fire of sudden craving, it is a sign that the mind is scattered and the heart unsettled. Impulse purchases are more than simple mistakes, they are reflections of a restless spirit. Each time you buy without awareness, you feed an illusion, a false belief that satisfaction lies outside of you. A new object may bring a spark of pleasure, but it vanishes quickly, leaving the same emptiness behind, and often a subtle regret. This cycle creates a constant hunger, a dependence on the external world to fill what can only be nourished from within. Discipline is born in moments of pause. The Shaolin path teaches us to notice these impulses, to observe the stirrings of desire, and to act only with clarity. Every unnecessary purchase is a thread that binds the mind to distraction, a chain that weakens the strength needed to master life. When awareness is present, each choice becomes a reflection of intention, a declaration that you are not controlled by fleeting urges. Over time, the mind learns the difference between real need and passing desire. You begin to see the patterns behind your actions, the hidden currents that pull you toward emptiness. The energy once spent chasing illusions is redirected toward growth, skill, and understanding. In this way, every moment of restraint becomes a brick in the foundation of self-mastery. The world will always tempt with new attractions, yet the one who masters impulse holds the power to transform ordinary life into a path of clarity, purpose, and quiet abundance. There is a subtle hunger that often goes unnoticed, a desire to be seen, admired, and validated by others. Many chase this hunger through possessions, thinking a new watch, a flashy car, or the latest fashion will elevate their worth in the eyes of the world. Yet Shaolin philosophy teaches that such pursuits are illusions, traps set by the ego to keep the mind restless and the spirit unsettled. True strength and abundance are never measured by outward display. They are reflected in the quiet mastery of oneself. When spending is driven by the need for recognition, every acquisition becomes a mirror of insecurity. The mind constantly compares, judges, and seeks approval, losing its center in the process. The momentary satisfaction fades, leaving behind the same emptiness that prompted the action. Humility, patience, and discipline are the true currencies of lasting wealth, for they cultivate a sense of inner fullness that no object can provide. Ancient masters observed that those who cling to appearances often carry heavy burdens of pretense and distraction. By seeking the approval of others, they surrender their energy to forces beyond their control. In contrast, the one who turns inward, who nurtures clarity and skill, discovers a richness that no external accolade can surpass. Mastery of self brings freedom from the endless cycle of comparison and desire. Every choice to resist status-driven spending is a step toward liberation. Each time one chooses need over image, purpose over vanity, the mind grows stronger and the spirit calmer. Wealth, then, is not counted in possessions, but in the depth of discipline, the serenity of intention, and the quiet power that emerges from understanding one's true value. The world may reward spectacle, but the path of inner mastery rewards the soul with clarity, focus, and enduring peace. There is a quiet erosion that often goes unnoticed, a slow drain that weakens both mind and spirit. Small recurring expenses, subscriptions, automatic payments, services barely used, move silently, like water seeping through stone. They seem harmless, almost invisible. Yet over time they consume more than money. They take attention, energy, and focus, fragmenting the mind and distracting from what truly matters. The wisdom of the ancients teaches that awareness is the first step toward freedom. Just as a master observes each movement, each breath, and each thought, one must observe where energy flows in life. Every recurring expense is an opportunity to practice mindfulness, to ask whether this is necessary, whether it nourishes purpose or merely fills a void created by habit or convenience. Tracking these flows is not about austerity. It is about reclaiming control over life and resources. When non-essential spending is released, a subtle power emerges. Discipline is strengthened and clarity increases. The mind, once fragmented by countless small distractions, becomes sharper. Focus returns to the tasks, practices, and relationships that cultivate growth and mastery. This act, seemingly small, is a declaration of inner authority, a refusal to let unconscious habits dictate the rhythm of life. Ancient teachings remind us that mastery is built in the small choices, the repeated practices, and the quiet moments of reflection. Cutting unnecessary spending is not merely financial, it is a practice of self-mastery, a way to align intention with action. Each month, each payment avoided becomes a lesson in patience, discernment, and presence. By observing what silently drains life, one begins to reclaim energy, focus, and freedom. Wealth is not only the accumulation of gold or coin, it is the preservation of attention, clarity, and the disciplined flow of one's inner power. In this way, mindfulness becomes both shield and guide on the path to true abundance. There is a temptation that dazzles the mind, promising sudden fortune with little effort. Gambling, risky investments, and schemes that promise instant wealth appear as shortcuts through life's challenges. Yet the wisdom of Shaolin teaches that true strength and abundance are cultivated slowly, patiently, and with consistent effort. Fortune gained without foundation is like a fragile tower built on sand. It may rise quickly, but it will not endure. Those who chase quick riches often surrender themselves to illusion. The mind becomes restless, swayed by hope and fear, and the spirit loses its center. Every win is fleeting, every loss a lesson harshly learned. Patience, once abandoned, cannot be recovered in moments of desperation. The ancient path reminds us that mastery over money, over skill, over self is not instant. It is built through steady practice, deliberate choices, and the quiet accumulation of wisdom. True wealth grows like a tree. Roots extend deep into discipline, study, and repeated effort. The branches bear fruit, gradually, season by season, never overnight. To seek shortcuts is to disturb this natural rhythm, to weaken the foundation that sustains long-term growth. Those who understand this redirect their energy toward learning, refining skills, and building systems that endure. Each small, steady action compounds into results far beyond what chance alone could provide. The path of patience cultivates more than material gain. It strengthens the mind, refines judgment, and fortifies the spirit against the illusions of temptation. Wealth becomes not just a collection of resources, but a reflection of inner mastery, focus, and discernment. In time, those who resist the lure of instant gratification find that abundance comes naturally, securely, and with a serenity that cannot be shaken by fleeting fortune. The quiet, deliberate journey is the only path that leads to lasting prosperity. There is a subtle pull in life that often goes unnoticed, a constant call for amusement, distraction, and fleeting pleasure. Every new show, every app, every form of entertainment promises satisfaction, yet it rarely delivers. Instead, it trains the mind to seek external stimulation, to hunger for the next momentary thrill, and to forget the deeper currents of purpose that flow within. Shaolin wisdom teaches that true mastery begins with observation. The mind is not an enemy to be silenced, nor a servant to be indulged. It is a mirror to be understood. Each urge for distraction reveals a pattern, a weakness, or an unresolved restlessness. By noticing these impulses without surrendering to them, one cultivates clarity and control, turning moments of temptation into lessons of awareness. Excessive consumption of entertainment fragments attention and dissipates energy. Time spent chasing transient pleasure is time taken from practice, reflection, and the development of meaningful skill. The ancients understood that the mind, like water, flows where it is directed. If scattered over trivial amusements, it cannot be focused on growth, learning, or strategy. Minimalism in consumption is not deprivation, it is liberation. It clears space for concentration, intentional action, and the pursuit of mastery. Each choice to step away from distractions is a small victory, a quiet exercise in discipline. It strengthens the ability to focus, to plan, and to act with purpose. Over time, the mind becomes a tool rather than a puppet, and attention transforms into power. Life, once cluttered with noise and endless diversion, opens into a space of deep clarity and creative potential. The one who masters the art of mindful attention finds that less is more. Freedom is discovered not in endless consumption, but in the simplicity that allows the mind to grow, the spirit to expand, and true skill to flourish without distraction. There is a hidden cost in choosing what seems easy or inexpensive, a quiet lesson that often escapes notice. Cheap, low-quality items promise savings, yet they demand repeated attention, replacement, and repair. Each cycle steals time, energy, and focus, resources far more valuable than the small coin saved. True wisdom lies in seeing beyond the immediate, in understanding that durability and quality carry their own unseen wealth. Shaolin philosophy teaches efficiency and harmony in all actions. Every object, every tool, and every resource has its purpose, and respect for these shapes the mind as much as the world around us. Choosing what endures is a practice in patience and foresight, a recognition that short-term gains often conceal long-term loss. By investing in what lasts, the mind learns to weigh consequence over convenience and intention over impulse. Every low-quality item replaced is a small reminder of impermanence, yet it can also be a lesson in discipline. The one who chooses durability cultivates mindfulness in decision-making, considers the ripple effects of each choice, and aligns material consumption with life's deeper rhythms. This practice extends beyond objects. It becomes a reflection of inner mastery, teaching patience, restraint, and the careful stewardship of resources. When life is filled with things that break, falter, or fail, attention is scattered. But when possessions are chosen with care, efficiency emerges naturally. Time is freed, energy conserved, and focus sharpened. Each object becomes a partner in life's journey rather than a distraction or burden. The ancient way reminds us that value is not in abundance nor in the illusion of savings. True wealth arises from respect, foresight, and the discipline to invest in what endures. In this, the mind grows stronger, choices become wiser, and life flows with clarity, balance, and quiet power. There is a quiet restlessness that lives within the heart, a subtle tension that often goes unrecognized. When sorrow, anxiety, or boredom arises, many seek relief in the act of buying purchases meant to comfort, distract, or fill a void. Yet this fleeting relief is an illusion, a temporary balm that leaves the mind unsettled and the spirit dependent on external comfort. Emotional spending is not simply a habit, it is a sign that the heart has not yet learned to stand still and observe itself. Shaolin teachings guide us to face emotions directly, to sit with them without fear, judgment, or reaction. Each feeling carries a message, a lesson that cannot be uncovered when masked by impulse or indulgence. Observing emotions with clarity transforms them from forces that control the mind into teachers that reveal the depth of self-understanding. The energy once spent on escaping discomfort through spending is redirected toward awareness, insight, and mastery. Mastery over impulses begins with a single choice: to pause before acting, to witness desire without surrendering to it. This practice, repeated daily, cultivates strength in both mind and spirit. Over time, emotional spending fades, replaced by a calm steadiness that does not seek validation or relief in objects. Financial resources are preserved, and attention is freed to nurture skill, growth, and purposeful action. The path of inner discipline teaches that freedom is born not in avoidance but in presence. Each moment of restraint strengthens the mind, fortifies the spirit, and builds a life aligned with clarity and intention. Emotional freedom and financial prudence are inseparable. One cannot exist fully without the other. By observing without reaction and embracing the lessons of the heart, the mind becomes a sanctuary, quiet, steady, and unshaken, capable of navigating life with balance, wisdom, and enduring strength. There is a subtle force in the world, a current that pushes people to follow, to imitate, to measure themselves against what is popular. Every new trend promises belonging, status, or approval, yet it often leads only to distraction and restlessness. Modern society celebrates imitation over individuality, leaving many trapped in a cycle of comparison and consumption. True personal mastery arises when one learns to resist this pull and to act with discernment. Shaolin philosophy teaches that wisdom grows from clarity and intention, not from the applause of others. Following trends blindly is an easy path, but it fragments the mind and scatters energy. The one who masters self observes each impulse, weighs it against inner values, and chooses only what serves purpose, growth, or harmony. In this way, every choice becomes a reflection of discipline rather than a response to fleeting pressure. Trend-driven spending carries hidden costs. It erodes financial stability, fragments attention, and weakens the sense of identity. The desire to belong through possessions or actions is never fully satisfied, because the currents of popularity shift constantly. By resisting the lure of imitation, the mind remains anchored, free to cultivate skill, focus, and long-term vision. Choosing what aligns with personal values rather than what is celebrated externally is an act of quiet rebellion. It preserves individuality, strengthens judgment, and protects resources. Each time one resists a trend, the practice of self-mastery deepens. The mind grows sharper, the spirit steadier, and the path becomes clearer. In the end, true abundance is measured not by conformity, but by the freedom to act with intention. Avoiding the pull of trends allows energy to flow toward mastery, wisdom, and creativity. Life becomes a reflection of inner clarity, not a mirror of fleeting fashions, and the one who walks this path discovers a strength and richness that the world's popularity can never offer. There is a quiet truth often overlooked. Every coin spent carries a weight far greater than its face. Money is not merely a measure of value, it is a reflection of time, energy, and effort invested. To spend without thought is to give away fragments of life itself, little by little, until the true cost becomes apparent. Shaolin mindfulness teaches that every action, however small, ripples outward, shaping both the mind and the life it inhabits. When a purchase is made, it is not only the money that departs, but the hours worked, the focus sacrificed, and the energy devoted to earning it. Yet many act as though these are separate, insignificant forces, forgetting that time is finite and energy is precious. Ignoring this hidden cost leads to scattered attention, subtle stress, and a quiet depletion of personal power. Discipline begins with awareness, seeing clearly the connection between effort, expenditure, and the life one wishes to cultivate. Ancient masters understood that wealth is not simply accumulated through gain, but through careful stewardship. To consider the true cost of every acquisition is to practice foresight, patience, and respect for resources. Each mindful decision strengthens the mind, sharpens discernment, and aligns daily actions with long-term purpose. When time is valued as highly as money, choices shift naturally. Impulse fades, unnecessary spending diminishes, and life gains clarity. Energy once lost in fleeting indulgences is redirected towards skill, learning, and growth. In this way, wealth becomes more than material. It becomes a reflection of intention, focus, and mastery. The path of mindful spending teaches that abundance is cultivated through respect for what is earned, attentiveness to what is spent, and awareness of the hidden cost behind every action. By honoring time and effort, life unfolds with balance, clarity, and enduring strength, revealing wealth in its truest and most profound form. There is a weight that grows quietly, almost imperceptibly, as possessions accumulate. Each object claims a piece of attention, a fragment of energy, and slowly the mind becomes cluttered. Life, once clear and purposeful, can feel heavy with distraction, as if the outer world presses inward, clouding thought and dimming focus. Shaolin philosophy teaches that simplicity is not emptiness, but clarity, a space in which the mind can breathe, see, and act with precision. Accumulating without discernment creates more than physical clutter. Every unnecessary item requires care, maintenance, and attention, subtly pulling energy away from pursuits that nurture growth, skill, and wisdom. The more the mind is occupied with what is external and transient, the less it is available to cultivate mastery over self, to develop discipline, or to channel creativity. True richness arises when one learns to release, to let go of what is superfluous, and to honor only what serves purpose. Simplifying consumption is a practice, a quiet act of self-mastery. It demands patience, awareness, and courage to resist the pull of accumulation. Each decision to choose need over excess sharpens judgment, strengthens focus, and aligns life with intention. The mind, freed from distraction, becomes a tool of clarity, capable of deep reflection and deliberate action. The path of simplicity is a path toward power, not limitation. Energy once scattered over unnecessary possessions is redirected toward learning, growth, and meaningful creation. Life becomes lighter, yet richer, quieter, yet fuller. The ancient way reminds us that mastery is cultivated not through abundance of things, but through abundance of attention, presence, and purpose. By letting go of excess, the mind clears, the spirit strengthens, and the path to true mastery unfolds with calm, deliberate clarity. True wealth is not built through endless accumulation, but through mindful choices, disciplined action, and mastery of self. Every decision to resist impulsive spending, status-driven purchases, or unnecessary consumption frees more than money. It frees time, energy, and focus to nurture growth, skill, and purpose. Shaolin teachings remind us that the richest life is measured by inner clarity, calm strength, and alignment with what truly matters. By letting go of these 5 types of purchases, a foundation is created, not just for financial stability, but for a life of intentional living and lasting prosperity. Each act of restraint, each mindful choice becomes a step toward freedom and mastery over both money and self. Carry these principles into your daily life. Observe your desires, question each purchase, and let awareness guide your actions. In doing so, abundance flows naturally, not from what is gained, but from the wisdom and clarity cultivated within. May your journey be steady, your mind calm, and your life rich with purpose. If this message resonates, join our community on Shaolin Divine Flow and subscribe for guidance on walking the path of mastery, discipline, and mindful living.